Hi friends, Gene Burnett here from geneburnett.com. Hey, I thought we'd talk a little bit about um, alignment with gravity, functional alignment versus structural alignment. Also, how to approach the whole subject of falling as you get older if you are significantly overweight. So if you're significantly overweight and you're going into middle age, or you're coming out of middle age into older age, your risk of falling keeps going up. And I've watched many fail videos, and many videos of people tripping and falling and slipping on ice, on stairs, on walkways, on landings, on living rooms and carpets, and all kinds of trips and falls. I watch a lot of this stuff. And a big cause of the fall itself is usually a lack of what I would call functional alignment with gravity. And a big cause of what makes the fall worse and more, and this is what happens when I hold a peace sign up. I don't know why. I was just counting 2, but let's see, 3 doesn't do it, does it? Okay, good. Anyway, so the lack of functional sort of relationship or alignment with gravity leads to a lot of falls. But the overweight quality of the person falling increases the magnitude of the fall, increases the impact of the fall, and being out of shape, of course, increases the likelihood that something is, that the consequences are going to be worse from the fall, and maybe the recovery from the fall is going to be longer, right? So what do I mean by structural alignment versus functional alignment? Well, structural alignment means that your structure is lined up, alignment, it's aligned up with gravity, so that gravity reigns through your body as relatively vertically as possible into the ground, right? So if you think of gravity as like a ping pong ball, if that ping pong ball has to bounce through the body before it gets to the ground, if the head is forward, if the pelvis is locked forward, or if the shoulders are up, or if the shoulders are too far back or too slumped forward, all these things, gravity goes like that, and that bang, 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 bang creates problems for the flesh, right? Your actual flesh. If your knees are hyperextended, if they're straight, like this, like back, like you're standing like that with your legs locked straight and your pelvis forward, well, gravity's not going the route it's supposed to. It's taken some detours, and those detours damage the flesh. You don't notice it for a while, but eventually you do notice it. So structural alignment just means that in this moment you are structurally aligned with gravity, and there's many disciplines that can help you with that. Certainly Tai Chi, which I do, can help you with that. Yoga, gymnastics, any kind of sport where there's coaching about form can help your structure, your alignment with gravity. Unfortunately, though, we live in a moving, changing world, and so structural alignment is sort of like a snapshot. It's a picture, but it's not really a living way to move and breathe and live. You can be a lot more idealistic and a lot more sort of numerical when you're focusing on structural alignment. When you're focusing on functional alignment, that means you're going to be less perfect, because it's not a frame, it's a movie. So you're in motion, you're moving and changing all the time, and you have to distort the perfect, and gravity is gonna, it's not going to be perfectly going through, but the idea with functional alignment is that you want to get as close as you can. So the key thing with functional alignment is basically, I call it functional alignment with force, not just gravity, but any force. So when you're pushing a door open, or pushing a car, or God forbid you're pushing a person, that pushing action, right? The contact with the force is your hands. And then your center has to be behind your hand. If your hand is behind your center, you can't push it very well. The center has to be behind your hand. If your feet are in front of you, but your center back here and your hand there, weak. You need all three of these things lined up. Contact with the force, your center, gravity, and your back leg, the leg that's, you got to have a little bit of a depth to your stance, so your back leg has to be firm on the ground. So the force goes up your leg, through your center, out the hands, right? So that has to be in a line. And life, of course, is constantly changing. So if you want to work on a functional alignment with gravity, you have to be constantly changing those three things. Your contact with the force, your center, and your wherever your back legs. So if the force is coming from over there, contact, center, my leg better be back there. Whoops, back there. If this is where I'm touching, right? So this is hard because everything's mirrored. So yeah, you have to learn to train yourself to bring your back leg behind your center and your center behind what you're touching. That's especially true in the physics of everyday life, and it's also true in martial arts for sure. Wherever the force is coming, you have to be oriented so that your contact or potential contact with it is in front of your center, and your center is in front of your back foot. That's kind of the way it goes. Until you get to the ground and grappling, and the physics changes completely. I'm talking about more like everyday stuff. So you have to adapt and change and move those things around so that they do that. And that is a discipline. That takes some practice. That takes a little bit of practice. It's not like yoga where you're working on structural alignment. You freeze the movie and then you make it perfect, or try to. This is more like a movie where you're trying to stay in a more or less correct zone. So you have the horizontal forces, right? And then you have the big one, which is gravity. So anytime you're not dealing with forces this way, the fight becomes 100% gravity. And once you're moving, it's gravity and these other things. But that force is still there. So having a functional alignment with gravity when there isn't forces coming at you means keeping your legs under your center and your center under your head, because the contact with the force is now here, is the main contact, right? So 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, 3, depending on how you number them. So you have to learn to, like, this is your spine, this is gravity, it's, things are changing, so you're just gently align that up, and then things come to you from an angle, and you line it up that way or this way or that way, and then you're back to this again. So a functional alignment with gravity is a practice. You have to learn functional ways of moving. One of the easy ones that everybody knows is lift with your legs. So that is what I'm talking about, a functional alignment with force. So you pull it up like that. If you did that with straight legs and bent straight down and picked it up with straight legs, you would easily strain your low back. So you bend your knees and you lift with your legs, and then you bring it up. Stuff like that. So if you're getting older and you're also significantly overweight, then you're adding another wrinkle to to aging, pun intended, and that's where the trouble comes in, because I see it over and over again. People are very heavy in the middle, pretty weak and not so greatly aligned down below. Some of them are okay as long as everything's okay. So their body is big, but their legs aren't super strong. But everything's fine unless they catch their foot on the carpet when they get up off the couch, or unless they hit the curb with the toe, or unless the dog yanks them a little bit to the side, or the surface is a little slippery. As soon as things aren't ideal, then it's, face plants, crashing into the ground and all kinds of problems. So you've got some choices here as you age, overweight or not, but it's especially if you are overweight, it's an added risk factor or an added complication. The best thing you can do, the healthiest thing you can do in terms of falling, that's all I'm talking about, falling, is to lose weight and practice good posture and movement habits, both structural alignment for when you're still and functional alignment for when you're moving. And this will minimize your risk of falling and lessen the impact on your life if you do. Now, the next best thing, because I know losing weight is hard. I mean, I try to lose 5 pounds, and it's like pulling teeth. But I recognize that it's not easy. So your next choice is don't lose the weight, right? Maintain your weight, but practice good posture and movement habits to lower your risk of falling. And it won't lower them as much as if you also lose the weight. That just complicates everything, having the extra weight. But good movement habits are really, really beneficial regardless of your weight. I've seen people do some neat balance tricks and recoveries from falls and do some cool things who are carrying significant amount of weight, extra weight. It's because they keep that functional alignment. They keep the force in front of their center, and they keep their center in front of their contact with the ground. It's just they have that quality. So so that's the next best thing you can do. The next thing would be to not lose weight and don't practice good posture and movement habits, and you'll face an increasing risk of falling and an increasing risk of serious consequences if you do. So if you just stay static, then that's what you're doing. You're increasing the risk of falling, and you're increasing the risk that you're going to break something or hurt something or really damage something if you do. And of course, the worst option would be just to keep on gaining weight and don't develop any functional movement habits, and then you can get to the place where you can't fall because you can't get up in the first place. And that is a sad alternative, and I don't wish that on anybody. So at the very least, hold the line with the weight if you can. And as far as the other stuff goes, learn functional movement habits. No matter what your weight, no matter what your age, no matter what your physical fitness level, you can always learn a little bit more about how to direct gravity through your body in a way that is the least injurious, the most efficient and effective for you. There are simple, basic things that do not require years of practice that can significantly lower your risk of falling. Some of the most simple ones that I can give you right here: tame your impulses to move suddenly and move quickly. Slow down. Take a breath. Then stand up. If I want to throw some garbage put something in the trash can, pause for a second. Engage the core a little bit. Drop it in there. I know it seems silly, but that kind of quick motion is an easy way to throw out your back, or an easy way to fall if you're in the midst of something else. Walking in one direction and you realize, oh, you forgot something, and you do a quick turn. See if you can tame the urge to move impulsively and quickly, especially as you get older, especially if you're overweight. Tame that urge, take the beat. It doesn't cost you more than 5-10 seconds, and then do the thing. That will help. Small steps. Stay over your stuff. Keep your head and chest over your center and legs. Small steps, especially at night. Getting up to go to the bathroom, or walking in the dark in a room you don't know. Any surface that you're not positive is clean and dry, right? Small steps. Don't bound into it. Just take small steps. Take it easy. You're not going to waste any real time, right? Adjust speed to road conditions. If you don't know that something isn't slippery, assume it might be. Use the banister. I've seen so many falls because people won't use a banister. They got a coffee in one hand and something else on the other, phone, and on the stairs. So personally, I try never to carry things in both of my hands. If I have a plate and a cup in here, I got a cup of tea and maybe a plate I had a snack on or something, I'll make 2 trips to the kitchen. I'm not going to walk around with my hands full. I know it seems silly, but if I do slip, I really don't want my hands full. So I'll make 2 trips. It costs me 30 seconds, and I get a little bit of walking in, which is good for my health anyway, right? Just simple things like that, right? What's another simple, easy? Yeah, cornering. Whenever you're going around a corner, coming out of a car and going around the corner, down the stairs and around the corner, out the door and around the corner, look out for corners. It's the easiest place to fall if you're not a little kid. Kids corner pretty good, but as we get older, watch out for corners and take them slow. Take them slow, small steps. Use the banister. Assume the ground is slippery. Don't have your hands full. Don't carry. Make 2 trips. Make 3 trips. Make 4 trips. I've seen so many really bad falls in these various fall videos because people are just carrying too much. They're trying to do it all in one load from the car. Why? To save themselves 2 or 3 trips across from the driveway to the door? It doesn't take that long. It's exercise is good for you. By minimizing their exercise, they get weaker, which includes being not so able to carry so much in one trip, which means that they fall more often. So yeah, use the step ladder. Get a step ladder. There's no shame in using a step ladder. Why stand on a chair or kind of clamber up on a countertop and reach for stuff? Just get a step ladder. It takes 30 seconds to pull out the step ladder and then do it. You know, if you go slowly, give yourself enough time. You're not in a rush. Just you know, take it easy and pay attention to your structure. Pay attention to your alignment and, you know, your well-being. You can navigate life pretty well, overweight or not. But if you're treating your body like a car that's always just done the trick of moving your head around from place to place, and you just lurch around in there like it's always going to be like that, it's not always going to be like that. Your body's going to get weaker, and it's going to lose stuff. And if you're not actively kind of checking that out and maintaining and figuring out what you've lost and what you haven't, and shoring it up or addressing it in some way, you just assume that body's going to be there like it always is. Well, watch some fail videos. Watch some videos of people slipping on ice or falling downstairs. I know it's kind of brutal, but I tell you, I watch them for educational purposes as much as for comedic purposes. So, yeah, you know, pay attention to your alignment. Find some discipline that'll help you do that, especially if you're going into middle and older age, especially if you're overweight. It does matter. So at the very least, you can develop functional alignment and good posture habits that can help you avoid falling. And if you do fall, make it a little easier on yourself. And of course, the weight does complicate things. So if you can also address that, that's even better. But the main thing is to be aligned with gravity. That's what I do in my practice and in my teaching. I have a constantly changing body, so the work of doing that alignment is constantly changing. I share that with my students as I go. We're learning together. We're practicing at their level and me at mine, but we're practicing trying to take gravity through the body as vertically as possible with us little ping-ponging around sideways and back and forth as possible so that things drop naturally through, creating less friction, less trouble, less injury, all that stuff. And that's what I'm using the Tai Chi system for. I'm constantly changing, so I have to keep checking and doing these exercises in slightly different ways to feel where am I weakening. And when I share where I'm weakening and how I'm addressing it with my students, they see that this is a lifelong process. There's no place to get to where you don't have to do that anymore. You have to embrace this as a process, not as a sort of state to be attained someday. Balance is a verb, so you balancing, and you know, so we work on it together, and they see that there's nothing super special about me except my incredibly good looks and 40 years of experience. I just have experience that they don't have, so I can point out things that they might miss. But other than that, we're working on the same stuff. My corrections are smaller, their corrections are bigger. At least now, who knows? When I'm 90, maybe my corrections will be huge. I have no idea. I have no idea what it's like to be 67, much less 90. I'm 66, and every few months I have a brand new body. So it needs attending to. So thank you for watching. I appreciate you watching my Tai Chi videos. If you have been, I publish these things to make, hopefully to be helpful, to make things a little easier out there. And I hope you can relate to some of this and that it helps you in your own practice. Please let me know if it does. Have you know, basically posting this towards the end of 2003. So have a great new year. And hopefully I'll just keep making videos, Tai Chi videos, music videos, whatever the hell, nature videos, whatever strikes my Taoist muse. And I'll keep sharing them here. And if you like it, let me know. And if you don't, to hell with you. Just kidding. If you don't, that's cool too. All right, now take care, breathe deep, and we'll see you in the new year.